I just read on Twitter that you are the first player. You are the first player ever to achieve a 34, 12, and 9 stat line in the WNBA.
You just did everything tonight.
So my question is, I just wanted to ask you how it feels that it seems like every time you step on the floor, you're doing something that nobody else has ever done. So I just wanted to ask you, kind of, for you, how does that feel?
It's a blessing. I give it all to God. Like, I'm able to show up to work every single day with phenomenal women that make me want to do what I want to do.
What a game from A'ja Wilson against the Seattle Storm. That game was excellent. A'ja Wilson is setting and breaking all kinds of records. And the one she broke during this game was being the fastest player to 6,000 career points. The defending champs absolutely took it to the Seattle Storm, who are going through a bit of their own storyline right now. And really, we just like fun games, so this was a good one. For a majority of the game, it was pretty close, so you got to see some nice plays and a little bit of flash from the Storm as well. The Aces beat the Storm 101-91, so it wasn't even a blowout. The Aces just got the win. They were the better team. A'ja Wilson had a near triple-double with 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. She even threw in 3 blocks for good measure. And I probably will keep calling it a fun game because every time you got too close on A'ja Wilson, she was grinning from ear to ear, especially towards the end of the game. But she played really well, and I thought it was funny that it looked like she was almost just as comfortable or even more comfortable playing against Iowa Pham and Dominique Malonga, just players that are as tall as her and probably longer arms, but she was still out there getting it like she was going up against guards. I want to say Malonga got her one time on a block shot, but A'ja Wilson got the best of both of them. And honestly, she's going to have even more performances like this she's not done at all. The great thing is we just get to witness it. And really for the night, the Aces were just playing together. I think Chelsea Gray said it after her interview, they had 27 assists as a team. So they were just getting that ball around and knocking down shots. They did their best to get A'ja Wilson that last assist in the end, but it just didn't work out. It's crazy watching her play. She's a 3-level scorer. She's scoring with her back to the basket. She's hitting mid-range. She's dropping threes now. It's such an interesting time to be a WNBA fan, and right now we just have someone so dominant in the league. It's amazing to watch.
In addition to the 6,000 point mark, you also moved into number 7 on the all-time shot block list. Just how much pride do you take in being a complete player on the court?
I take a lot of pride in it. You have to. I mean, it's easy to be good on one side of the basketball, but can you be great on both? And that's what I strive to do every single day. And it's not easy at all. It's really hard, but I'm surrounded by women that make sure that I can trust them, and I hope that I can be the same for them. If I can be that anchor, if I can help them be like, oh no, I got your back, and they can do the same to me. I take a lot of pride in that. So I think they show up as block shots, yes, but just any deflections, any steals that we can come up with, I'm grateful for it. So that's a big thing.
Chelsea Gray had 12 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds. Jackie Young gave him 29 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. They even got 16 points from Nalissa Smith, who also added in 9 rebounds. They got 3 points from Stephanie Talbot and not really much else from the bench, so their starters really took over this game. And outside of Talbot, all of them scored in double digits, and each of them also finished with a positive plus-minus. We saw a little bit more from Kirsten Bell. I'm kind of glad we're seeing her on the floor. If they're going to play her down the stretch or keep her all these years, we definitely need to start seeing what she's got going on. We got solid minutes from Jewel Lloyd, who plays like a starter, 28 minutes, so most of those minutes Talbot didn't play. She gave you 5 points, 2 rebounds, and still playing with a little bit of edge, but not the Jewel Lloyd we know from just a handful of years ago. And this just ended up being a game where they played like the defending champs. Again, it was a very fun game. Everybody was smiley, especially through those first 3 or so quarters, because both teams were kind of neck and neck, so Seattle didn't really have much to gripe about up until the 4th. And just as much as the Aces are an experienced championship team with small veteran moves to get to the line or take the possession, you have the exact opposite with the Seattle Storm. Their vets right now would be Natisha Heidemann, Jade Melvin, and Stephanie Dolson. Everyone else is either just getting to the league or doing their best to stay in the league. And this team has a lot of potential, because when you see the flashes, it is a nice team. They're full of nice players. Now, the Seattle Storm did end up waiving Lexi Brown, which is very interesting considering she was one of the few players on one of the old CBA contracts, so she wasn't even making as much money as everybody else. Ideally, business-wise, you keep her on the floor and save a little money, but they waived her. They did pick up Taylor Theory, although she didn't play, and they are still waiting on Ezzie McBagger to get back. But I do not think that's where their problems lie. They have a lot of great bigs on this team. And it just seems interesting how they went out and chose their point guards. I love Natisha Heidemann. I think Jade Melvin is great. I just don't think their style of point guard matches with this team. They need a guard that's going to feed their bigs on the regular. Yes, they should be able to score, but that should not be their first thought. And that's exactly what they get in Zaya Cook, and most of the time Jordan Horston. I said it in the beginning with Dominique Malonga, but it's like it's doubled down now with Awa Pham being there. Your point guard has to be able to put the team in order and get the ball to the right player. And even against the Aces, if that's your bigs going up against Asia Wilson, then that's the battle of the night. We can't just skip that because they have a pretty tough matchup. That's even more of a reason to get them the ball, so you can swing and find somebody open on the wing. And honestly, by the time they did get to that, they were just missing shots. I mean, they talked a lot about their turnovers, but they had less than the Aces. The Storm had 9, the Aces had 12, so it was still a pretty solid game. They only lost by 10 points. Their highest scoring player was Dominique Malonga with 19 points, and she snatched up 5 rebounds. Awa Pham gave him 16, and you got 17 from Heidemann. Floja actually ended up having a really good game. She had 13 points and 7 assists. I think she had one of the best games on the floor last night for her team, and I still really like the Storm. They're just young. They still have to get that order together as a team. Their timeline obviously isn't up against the Aces, so you take these games as lessons and just make sure the team walks away knowing what went wrong in film and things like that. I know Natisha Heidemann was probably ready to put some wins on the board, but I think that again is more showing how the Storm were building this team in the offseason. I still say the first guard that gets in the gym with Dominique Malonga and or Awa Pham and just unlocks that partnership, that's who's going to keep their job on the Storm. Right now, it still looks like they could trade both of their guards just for a point guard that fits this team. And then one of the more glaring issues in the game, especially with the Aces going towards the Storm were just easy to break down defensively. You got the 2 bigs in the paint, so that was a bit of a deterrent to just drive to the basket, but after a couple of switches, maybe a good vet move, the Aces were able to get open and find a lot of good looks. So outside of pure development, that's where the Storm need to focus. And honestly, they're playing with such small guards that can be taken off the dribble that I really can't see them through this entire season without making a trade, or at least super focusing in on Natisha Heidemann and redirecting her energy. But this was a really good game to witness, especially as an Asia Wilson fan. And even with all of that, they made it interesting down the stretch in the third. Like, the Aces hadn't necessarily run away with the game yet, so the Storm made them play. So you got to take your small wins there, especially against a championship team that's just constantly breaking records this season, and they're going to keep doing it. On top of Asia Wilson reaching 6,000 career points, she moved up in the all-time assist leaders, and Chelsea Gray moved up in the franchise for assist leaders in Las Vegas. And they're getting solid, confident minutes from Nylissa Smith. That's the best way I can describe what I'm seeing from her on the floor right now. Just pure confidence. And that's exactly what the Aces need, especially if they're going to try to go on this championship run again. But that obviously includes beating the teams you're supposed to beat. And this was definitely a game that the Aces were supposed to walk away with the W on. It is interesting watching the win play out for the Aces because they have so much firepower in almost every position. And to most of their players' points, Becky lets them play their game. She allows them to just be them. So when you have Chelsea Gray playing that free and getting anyone the ball as long as you're ready, you're going to get an inflow Jackie Young. You're going to get a completely connected and focused Nylissa Smith. Asia Wilson always comes ready. So the team is operating at such a peak right now. I really want to see them hold on to this throughout the season. But all in all, it was a great game for the Aces. Obviously a historic night for Asia Wilson. We're going to continue to see great basketball from them. And ultimately that Seattle Storm timeline is a few years down the road.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.